You know what I'm saying? And people love it, but it sets people free because the truth sets free. But if you only create this persona of perfection, oh, they don't have the problems like I have, then that truth that you have can't get to them. Hi, and welcome to another edition of the, let me read it, make sure I'm saying it right. The Family Business with the Alessis. No, for real. The Family Business with the Alessis. I am back in the studio with my twin sister, Martha. That's why we're a little punchy, goofy, and silly. But we had an amazing conversation in our first podcast that we did here in the booth. And I want everybody else to know you have a podcast.
Yes.
That I was on about a year ago, I think.
I think so, yes.
And we talked about raising kids in the ministry to work with you, working with your adult kids. We talked all about that. And it's funny and it's fun and it's longer, I think. Did we talk like for an hour or something?
I think so. We just kept going.
We just
kept going. Maybe 45 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's long. But go get that and listen to it because we do cover a lot of this, a lot of stuff about that. Because I know today we're gonna try to talk some of that in this podcast, but we're going to get off the rails because we have a lot of things. Here's some of the things we're going to talk about in this podcast. You ready?
Go.
We're going to talk about working with family.
Yes.
We're going to also talk about how our young daughters and sons, the shows that they're consuming, the culture that they're a part of, and our concern about what will happen to our grandkids.
Yes.
If it's bad now, what will our grandkids be up against? What will our kids have to safeguard our kids from?
Right.
The confidence that we need to instill in our adult children to pass on. And does that work? Does the same things that work for us, that work for our parents, does that also work for our kids and our grandkids?
Yes.
So we're going to jump into that. I got one more thing here. Let me see. Oh, I think I said it. And then what is the next generation saying about their future, about what the future is beyond them?
Right.
Because we've had so many awesome conversations with our adult kids, more and more and more, because we're looking at the world today. And it's like every morning you wake up, there's so much to talk about.
Right.
Because you checked your phone.
Right. I know. Oh, Lord,
There's just so much that you could start a conversation with your kids, whether it's the latest on Justin Bieber.
Right.
Or the latest on
Kim
Elon
Kardashian
Musk or Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, anybody,
And then what's happening in the news with whatever. I mean, it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. And our kids, we have found, this next generation, our kids, are way more into the conversations.
Yeah.
We could have cared less.
News was so boring. But now...
God, Walter Cronkite?
I know. Now, if my dad had the news on, I'd be like, oh...
We go sit outside or something.
I know. But now, news is not news anymore. Everything's salacious.
It is.
Everything has just been turned into a gigantic reality show of the worst kind.
Yeah.
None of it's real. It's like The Truman Show. You know, that movie that was on with Jim Carrey. I watched it the other day. It's a light version of what our world looks like right now. We don't know what truth we're getting. We don't know when we wake up and scroll through if it's AI, if it's real, if it's manufactured, somebody created. We don't know.
No.
And if we're not careful, and this is one of the things I've told my children, and they've told me, I'll be real, they've told me, research the research.
Wow.
Like, you better know, don't just repost something. Don't just get
real.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because it kind of creates and stimulates something in you that you're like, it's true. It's gotta be. You better dig a little. Be a researcher, Google it, like find out who wrote that article.
And our generation is like, well, forget it. I thought it was funny.
Right.
I thought it was, that dog didn't really die when it fell from that eagle. That was 2000.
Right.
Read the story. That's not how that ended. That happened to me recently.
The guy, the dog that's laying beside the casket and that's, blubbering, that's not real. That's Photoshop. Like, oh, what? Some of it's real?
Our poor kids have to look over our shoulders.
I know.
And go,
Don't
Mom,
post that.
Please do not post that. Don't take that down because that doesn't make any sense. And we both work with our kids. You've got 3.
Yeah.
I've got 4. The oldest among our 7 is 31, my son Chris.
Yeah.
Then Danielle just turned 30.
Yes.
And then Nicole is 28. Stephanie's going to be 26.
Nathan's going to be 26.
Okay, so
next week,
So we had a baby every year for 7 years.
We didn't. I messed up my mic. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
We didn't see each other for like
a long time.
It was pointless to get together because it was like, what? We're just taking care of babies.
Children between us.
Yeah.
We made 7 people.
I know.
2 girls made 7 people.
It's crazy.
And now they're all working with us. You have a church, you and your husband have a church, and your kids are on staff. And people ask us all the time, I know they ask you, how did you do it? And how do you make it successful? Well, honestly, today we aren't just dealing with values on the job, work ethic. We're not just dealing with, are you gifted to do your job? And is this nepotism or not? Honestly, we don't even, we've figured those things out. The importance of the family unit and explaining that, and that being as a role model, we understand the power of that, that it is what it is. It's not where we look like we're a happy family, behind the scenes we're not a happy family. No.
Right.
We understand the power of presenting honesty, integrity, and we are what you think we are.
I got to say, I think I've learned a lot from you, but because you guys have pastored for so many years and we're just kind of up and coming pastors, but you and Pastor Steve, the honesty and the transparency that you guys display all the time. Like, you guys are an open book. You share things most people will never in a million years have the guts to share, but it's your truth.
It's the truth.
That makes people go, okay, if he'll tell that on himself, if she'll say that, okay. Like, even arguments in front of people over carpet.
Right.
I grew up thinking that everybody has to think that we never argue and that we have to
we're only holy.
Right.
We don't fight because we're pastors.
Right.
We've conquered that.
And to find the freedom to say, oh no, guys, if you think we didn't fight on the way to church today, you crazy, but we did. You know what I'm saying? And people love it, but it sets people free because the truth sets free. But if you only create this persona of perfection, oh, they don't have the problems like I have, then that truth that you have can't get to them.
No. And it starts with our kids.
That's what I mean. That's
so
right.
It started at home. We've been that way with our 4 kids, probably to the point where they wish we wouldn't sometimes. Right. But honesty is honesty because 2 things. It sets you free, but it also builds confidence. You know where you stand. They know where they stand. I can't tell you how many times one of the girls, when they all lived at home, would run downstairs on a Sunday morning, and Steve and I would be in the room. It still happens, but they're pretty much brainwashed now.
Right.
But they'd run downstairs, and Steve would go, "Let me see your outfit," because they'd be on the platform, and he would go, "Mary, talk to her." That's how it was, because he didn't want to have to say it.
Right.
Or he would tell Chris, "You got to iron that shirt, man. You're on the platform.
Yeah.
That does not look good." And he would fight through truths that the kids would go, "Ugh," and they'd get mad. I don't know.
Right.
Well, I don't have the money. Well, let's go shopping.
Right.
But you're not wearing those pants. They're too tight.
Right.
Or that skirt doesn't look good.
You look homeless.
My God, you're not a crystal meth addict. Go brush your hair. So when they were younger, because we wanted our kids to be a part of ministry, and we knew part of that was presentation.
Yeah.
And when you're afraid to tell your kids the truth and you think you're crushing them, you really don't have any faith in your kids that they can handle the truth. So I think that goes beyond just working with your kids, because now our kids are all grown, getting married, having children, and we're watching them more and more say something that we love hearing.
Yeah.
How much we were right.
Yes.
It's given them such a sense of confidence. And I say it this way, it's a bedrock.
Yeah.
That they stand on. It's a foundation of principles of truth that you're not going to argue with them. We've actually made like monsters to some degree, because they're dealing with, and I say that lightly, but they're dealing with the social media ills. Their generation has been born with the phone in their hand and social media as a way of communicating.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about that with our kids, and our kids are teaching us because they don't want us on it that much.
No. I know this statistic, and it's absolutely accurate, that social media is scientifically designed to make you unhappy.
Yeah.
It's not an afterthought, oh, we didn't know, unintended consequence. No. It's designed to make you have the worst FOMO because it's always about what you don't have and what else could I have.
Right.
Because that's why it's monetized.
Yeah.
Because now that's why it's the greatest sales, place that the shopping venture that you could go on is on Instagram.
That's right.
People would have never, even just a few years ago, bought something off Instagram. Now it's becoming the second Amazon.
Absolutely.
We've got to know when we go into these things that if we just feel bad all the time, well, my friends' kids have it, and I feel bad, and I didn't want to say anything because I feel bad, and I know that it's not good for my kid, and they're spending too much time in their room, but I felt bad. Okay, you're going to feel crushed if you don't get over feeling bad. And I remember what you were just telling that story about Steve making the kids come down, and if we're being really honest here, I have not always backed up Danny.
Right.
We're going to edit this out, right? This is going to be edited. This is for us.
No,
Okay.
there's no editing.
There's no
She'll
editing.
Watch
Okay.
what you say.
Okay.
No,
No,
kidding.
but there has been times where he wanted to take a bigger stand.
Right.
And I thought, for the sake of meltdown, right?
Conflict.
It's not that bad. It's
Yes.
fine.
Let it go.
Yeah. And I found myself doing that more and more until a few years ago, we were all sitting in a restaurant, the four of us, you and Steve and Dan and I, and there was a really big situation happening in our family. And I had taken more, I knew it wasn't the direction that I wanted our family to go in. But because I thought, I can't control this, no one's listening to me, I might as well just absorb it and expect it and make the best of a bad situation. That's what my thoughts were. And I remember saying that, and Dan was like adamant, we're not doing this. And I was like, yeah, but maybe we should we can't really control it. And I remember Steve going, Mary, talk to your sister.
Yeah.
Talk to your, like he was getting so agitated at me, like talk.
Yes.
I don't have time for you right now. And most people would have gotten up and walked out of the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew truth when I heard it.
Yes.
And I thought, what I'm doing is not working. My empathy and apathy towards something that I have settled for.
Yeah.
And not what I have said I wanted.
Right.
Is ridiculous.
No, I'm going to interject here. I just said this on a recent podcast. When you parent from the position of, I don't ever want to deal with my kids when they're mad, sad, or unhappy, whatever, mad or sad, then what you've done is you've let emotions take the lead. You take emotions in a moment that to a kid, the minute they run upstairs, they're not still processing their moment. They're just mad because they're kids over a pair of jeans or over a shirt or over a party they can or cannot go to. And when you don't hold down and let dad be dad, if he feels it's wrong, he's their parent too.
Yeah,
he has a right to say no. Sometimes as moms, we are missing how our kids are formed and designed.
That's right.
That's why dads, sometimes they can see that the bad part of our kids that we're blind to. Mm-hmm. And moms, we struggle. I know I did.
I know.
But I remember when Steve got in my face and said, I don't want you. Chris was like 18. I don't want to see you in his room again, helping him with a situation.
Wow.
You stay out of his room. And we'd been arguing and fighting. And I tell the truth, I thought Steve in that moment just wasn't talking right to Chris. Right. Do you know what my son told me about 2 years later when his frontal lobe started to fuse and he wasn't such an idiot?
Right.
He goes, Mom, I knew I had you wrapped around my finger.
Wow. See that?
And then I knocked him out and we got up.
Right.
I said, Why did you tell me that? No, but that's the truth.
It's true, yeah.
That I was being sucked into this vortex because he was mad or sad or he was feeling emotions that he needed to feel.
And we're actually
really feel bad.
softening.
We weren't raised to deal with it.
Yeah.
And it made us stronger.
I know. And we're softening the blow that needs to come.
Right.
We're softening something that is the one thing that will shape them and help them for the future. And I'm not going to say, let's bash moms. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
I'm grateful. And I think we definitely soften our husbands, and we do have to have empathy, and we do have to say, have a conversation and relate and all of those things. But I think there is more of that. It's, dare I say, the feminization.
Oh, that's it.
If we're not careful,
absolutely,
we've overly feminized when we need that strong authority, that male structure that can walk in, call it like it is, doesn't care, let the chips fall where they may.
So let's look at it this way.
That's not so tied into all the emotions.
So the plan of God, I was a working mom, you're a working mom, I'm all for working moms, I get it. But I'm seeing more and more young women want to be home with their children.
Yes.
Their moms were working, they were latchkey kids, they want to come home, okay?
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that the original plan was mom stayed home all day with the kids saying, wait till your dad gets home. And then when dad gets home, he's only there for a couple hours before the kids go to bed.
Right.
So you don't have an overdose of dad, you have an overdose of mom. You spend the majority of your time with your mom.
That's right.
You get these split seconds with your dad. So he's got to come in and be hard.
Yeah.
And
well, no, what do we say? Wait till your dad gets home. You wait till your dad gets home. You wait. So he's the bully that's going to come home and set everything right.
And he's okay with that.
And he loves that actually a little bit.
He comes in and he loves his kids. But when we think, now we've taken that mom's out of the home all the time, dad's out of the home all the time, and we come home and the balance is off.
Yeah.
And I say that because it's in the language, and I feel like it's bleeding into our overall filtering system.
Yeah.
Like we filter everything through the lens of men are too hard, women are too soft or women need to be harder.
Right.
All these crazy lenses. And the truth of the matter is we are not being confident at home in our roles.
Yes.
And we wonder why we're having all this issue with gender fluid, binary, nobody knows who they are. Well,
confusion.
There are more single parents than there are married parents. Fact. Fact check me.
Yeah.
There are more people being raised by single parents.
Right.
We have more and more gay couples raising children.
That's right.
Okay. What are the problems with that? Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Because we know the problems that we're having with just mom in the house.
Yeah.
Or just dad in the house.
Yeah.
So you can figure it out and do it however you want to do it. But here's what has been tested since the beginning of time. The best solution for healthy kids, the next generation, is a present mom and a present father. You cannot argue with that.
That's right.
You can try.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to be. So say that's what you want, but don't mess with a nuclear family, a system that's worked. That's like saying, we've decided that 2 + 2 isn't going to be 4 anymore.
Yeah.
Because we don't want it to be.
Right. Right.
Well, you can make it 5, but for the processes of this classroom.
Yeah, that's right.
And teaching the next generation, we're going to keep it what it really is.
And that's what Mom used to say this all the time. You build your life on principles, not on wishes and hopes. You build on principles, the foundations of the things that we know work. That's what you build your life on, so that when storms come and problems come and culture shift and you're not shaped by the culture, you're firm. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. And so whatever is thrown at you, you're not, you might be confused for a day or two, but you go back to, you right yourself with, I know what truth is. I know what's right.
Right.
I know what makes sense. And honestly, when you think about social media, like I said earlier, it's designed to make you unhappy. It's always because you're reaching for something you don't have. You're reaching, and then they portray these lifestyles that, how do I get that? The average person makes $1 million a month selling, a candle, and then they make these beautiful videos, and we're all constantly trying to keep up, quit
our jobs and be an influencer.
Yeah. And the truth is you're already an influencer.
Right.
As a parent, as a single woman, as a single man, the best thing you can give society is to be the best you can be, is to know truth, to know to be confident.
Right.
Especially as single, because you've got 2 kids married and 2 kids single. I've got 3 kids that are single.
Right.
And the kind of the stage of life that they're walking in now, they're not dating as much. They're not, they're at all.
No,
really.
it scared us a few years ago. We were like, what in the world? We need 4 more young men.
Yeah.
And we need another beautiful girl for your son, Nathan.
Right.
Oh my God. And we started feeling like it's not going to happen. I mean, we're both surrounded by a lot of single young adults.
Yeah.
And the fear, you were talking about being a confident single, being a confident single young mother, being confident. Confidence is the most sexy thing you can have.
It is.
Okay. You've
is.
got to walk in confidence. And where do you get confidence? In absolute truths.
Right.
Walk in that. But what we have found in my older 2 getting married, we're learning in this culture that the same principles apply in our culture.
Yes.
We just had this conversation that it's so funny. They're watching Love is Blind.
Yeah.
They're watching these reality TV shows about dating. And they just look at them and laugh because we're over their shoulder going, this is stupid. This is dangerous.
Right.
We have no problem. We speak our mind. Our kids have gone through the process of going, you can't say that. They learn their lesson.
Right.
Don't tell us what we can and cannot say. This is my house.
Right.
If it's true, I'm saying it.
That's right.
You are my kids and you're going to hear the truth.
That's right.
And that's the confidence that our mother instilled in us. She still does it to you and me.
Oh, yeah.
She'll go, what in the world are y'all saying? I mean, she just, and we listen to her.
Yeah.
She's right. Why? Because she's 81 now. She's lived double our lifetime. She's experienced things. She's been through 3 more presidents.
Yes.
And the world on fire than we have. And she understands. She has a higher perch to be able to see.
She does.
So when we look at our kids from this perspective of being afraid of them getting married, interestingly, mom was never freaked out about it.
Never.
And here she got married at 18. We got married at 19.
Yeah.
And we're starting to wring our hands a little bit when our kids nobody got married at 19 and our kids.
No. Now it sounds like the turn of the century now. Just from,
I know.
From our, our generation getting married.
They're not dating.
Well, you know why?
Guys aren't asking girls out.
No, and this is the unhappy part because we've bought into this social media, and I'm grateful for it. I believe
there's
that
good parts,
great parts, and we understand that. But I believe, again, designed to make you unhappy, and not just unhappy with yourself, but unhappy with your decisions. It makes you just feel like
you pick the short straw.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't. So don't pick it all because you might get the short straw.
You might get the one. And that's what you experience when you're like elementary school and junior high, not as an adult.
No.
As an adult, you have more of an understanding that,
love is a decision.
It is a decision, and there's good and bad and everything. And you just go, this one makes my heart flutter. We're 80% there. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? But now it's got to be perfection because I'm unhappy all the time. I've got to find somebody that meets all this criteria every single day and never has a bad day.
Exactly.
And then they're saying that, I think 68% of single men are not even dating.
I know.
Because, a lot of it is pornography.
Yeah.
So they're getting their needs met there. And then they're just scrolling. And then they're on all of these dating apps and all of those websites. And so if I take a girl out that I kind of like and she agrees to go out and she has one thing I don't like, I just keep swiping.
They don't even make it past the first date.
They because they're looking for flaws because we know so much about somebody now.
So when Steve asked me out, and we talked about this, when Steve asked me out for the first time, he was so clear. Hey, I like you. I want to take you out. I was like, okay. No. And I was not like in love. I was not hoping he'd ask me out. I wasn't even there. I was so young. You were dating Danny. You'd been dating Danny for a while. And we went out to this Italian restaurant in Coconut Grove. And we sat down, and he made it so clear he was all into me. And I remember feeling like, he is just too much. Back up.
Right.
And so we go to get in the car, and I was very innocent. And he goes, can I kiss you? And I wanted to say no. I was like, no. But I went, okay. It was so just juvenile. And he kissed me, and I was like, okay. And we got in the car. I look back, and I go, oh, my God, what a goofball. He should not have given me a second date.
No.
He should have said, okay, she's a weirdo.
He's a moron.
This girl does not know, because he was 7 years older than me.
Yeah.
And he should have done that. But he looked at the potential.
Yes.
And he says this, which sounds so misogynist, but it's true. It's the truth. He goes, I knew that because all the things that mattered to me, you loved God, you came from a good family.
Yeah. Mom was hot. Mom looked good.
He goes, your mom was beautiful.
Listen, don't be stupid, people.
Come on.
Don't be stupid.
You better look. You better look a couple times.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So then the next thing I know, he's like, let's go out. We're going to go play golf. And we went, and he rented a golf cart and picked me up. He didn't even touch me on that day.
I remember that.
And we went on the golf cart, and we giggled and laughed, and I could not hit anything but grass.
Right.
And he was irritated, but it was funny. And we started learning each other, and I found a friend.
Yes.
And my attraction grew.
Right.
And I remember sitting with Mom going, I'm feeling this, and are you sure? And she would say, okay, well, here's the things about him that are good. And the next thing I knew, I had a ring on my finger. We were getting married 35 years later.
I know.
Best decision I ever made. But his mom was not manipulating it, but she was pushing it to some degree. I could say we were prearranged. We
of course.
Pushed together. Thank God.
I know.
Thank God my mother-in-law went to our mother and said, Faith, don't tell the kids. But I had a dream. I saw Mary in a wedding dress.
Yes.
Coming down the aisle marrying Steve.
Yep.
They didn't tell us, but they were working behind the scenes.
Right.
Honestly, Christopher and Stephanie, my daughter and her husband, same thing with his mom and me.
Yep.
We didn't manipulate.
No.
We just helped two people that in this generation are having a little bit of a hard time. Right. So confidence in knowing the same principles work.
Yes.
Nothing's really changed.
And I'll tell you, your kids, as much as they fight that, they need that.
They need it.
And I always say, be loyal to the future. In the decisions you're making now, be loyal to the future.
So good.
Don't diminish your decisions now because it's just easy and you don't want the conflict. You don't want, just like that 2-year-old.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have said, well, I don't want to fight that child, so I'm going to let it run out into the street.
That's right.
Well, no, you're not going to do that. That 4-year-old, that 8-year-old, you're going to say, I'm your parent. You do what I say. Now, as they get older, you're not going to say you do as I say, but you still stay in that place of authority in their life until they're married. That's one of the things I have learned, even with my 30-year-old. I'll even tell her, put your feet down. It's like, she's 30. Like, get up. Stop talking like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
our mom does it to us.
She still does it.
You going to wear those?
I know.
Is that really what you wear?
Right. What is that? Where did you
right
get
back.
those pants? Oh my Lord, these look so crazy. That's the privilege of being a mother.
That's it.
And you can say things other people can't say.
That's right.
So don't give that away.
No.
Don't relinquish that.
So let me just say, I've got a grandchild, a little granddaughter. She's a year, and 2 on the way. Okay. You are right behind me, and you're going to see this.
Yeah.
It starts as soon as they see these devices now.
Oh.
Okay. And our kids watched VeggieTales. We were very protective of
I
what
know.
they watched, right? So when we're talking about being a confident parent, being strong, not giving into the culture, not feeling like you have to, helping your kids, don't stop helping them because they reach a certain age. Steer them around things that are good for them and not good for them. And don't be afraid to speak up and say, that's just ridiculous. If you don't like the word stupid, fine.
Right.
Just say, I think you should rethink that.
Yeah.
If that helps you, gentle parenter.
Right.
But you set the culture in your home, and your kids know you love them, right?
Right.
Because you come back with a lot of love. Or that's dangerous. Don't even look at that.
Right.
Don't go out with that young man. He is not for you. You have a right as a parent to speak up.
Yes.
That is your right. Now, once they get married, you shut your mouth.
That's
It's none
right.
of your business.
That's right.
But I can tell you, starting over again with a 1-year-old, now more and more we see it is the intent of the world right now, and the evil world, is to infiltrate them as early as babes, because there's shows on YouTube. We didn't even have YouTube.
No.
Now YouTube. I don't leave my TV on. I turn it off because I
can't.
never know what video's coming on next.
Yeah.
I told Steve, when my grandkids are at my house, and the reason I'm saying I'm going here is because we truly believe the same values that worked for our parents, that worked for us.
Yeah.
It's not about how bad the world is. It's about the parenting styles and the values of mom and dad that you hold fast.
Yeah.
And you don't give into the culture because your friends' kids like it.
Yeah.
So now there's a show on TV. I'm not going to name all the shows, but there's a YouTube channel of a young lady that is like 700 million. It's crazy how many people watch, and it's for babies and toddlers.
Yeah.
I'm watching this with my 1-year-old, and when I tell you, the minute she sees it, it's like she's hypnotized. If I wanted her to be at my house and sit on the couch and watch it for an hour, as a 1-year-old, while I did something else, she would sit there literally hypnotized. It's cute. It's funny. It's teaching her how to speak. There's a lot of good
content.
Phenomenal contribution to a baby's development. It is still fake. It is not real. It's not a real face.
Right.
But I am noticing as we're watching these videos, there's a whole lot of LGBTQ imagery, not necessarily dads and moms and moms.
I know what you mean.
But there's pictures. There are people that are
can't
just
tell.
quickly, you don't know what gender they are.
Right.
And I called my daughter and I said, you've got to make a choice. She's 1 year old.
Yeah.
She's a year old, Martha.
Wow.
So here's the thing. The principles don't change. You just got to start earlier now.
Yeah.
You've got to shelter your children. You've got to say, if you see something that you know is intentional to help shape their minds, turn it off.
That's right.
Be present.
Yes.
So the truth is, it's just more dangerous now.
It is.
It's a lot more urgent. Same principles apply, but you've got to be a lot more intentional.
You do. And I think about, what our kids were watching 20 years ago, 22, 23 years ago. And there was a show called Gullah Gullah Island that was our kids' favorite.
Magic School Bus.
Oh my gosh, there were just so many great things. You would have never even thought that would have infiltrated. It was
you'd leave the kids alone.
They could
just
watch.
Don't come after the kids.
Right, exactly. And I think some people feel as if, well, it's going to get bad, but I'll be able to monitor. I'll be able to.
No, you won't.
People will be outraged. Everybody will be outraged if it goes to this degree. When I think about what 20 years, how our world has radically ramped up, shifted in a way, and I would have thought it would take 50 years to do where we are, or if ever, where we are with the language what's being pushed on our children, the agendas being pushed on our children, I want to be able to live in a world where nobody knows who is what and is transhuman.
Yeah.
Everybody's just can be whatever they want to be. It's so anti-creation and God, but that's what it's going away from. People can see if we think the same people that are kind of asleep at the wheel now won't be asleep at the wheel in 20 years. Yeah. When Gia is 20, looking back on what what our children are going to be left with.
Right.
And this is why we can say, well, it's just going to happen. What can we do? No, we we keep talking, keep speaking, keep pouring that into your children. This is why we say, don't be shaped by the culture.
Right. Do not.
Don't be shaped by the culture.
The culture is always changing.
It's changing, and it's going to lead you down the wrong path. Like even with Instagram, use Instagram as the tool that it's designed to be, and then turn it off.
And get books and read books to your kids.
Listen,
I will say,
Madonna, I'll just say this really quick. Madonna, when she was raising her little kids, you know what she said? I don't let my kids watch TV.
Unbelievable.
How many celebrities? I don't let my kids. Well, you let my kid.
You poisoned a lot of kids.
You poisoned all these kids, but yet
right.
you know the power of this. And okay, that's all I needed to hear.
No.
I'm unplugging.
Absolutely.
I'm unplugging.
And there's so many great alternatives for your kids that they can watch. But the truth is, it's not only designed to make you sadder and more emotional. This is designed to really hypnotize you.
It is.
Because we all of us fight it. And I see, Gianna, and there's some things, and I got to say this, I know we're getting overtime just a little bit, but something hit me the other day. And I know it's cute and funny, but these phones have filters. You could be a cat, you could be a dog.
I know what you're going to say.
Have a sad face, you could have a happy face. And there was a video of a little 2-year-old going, "No, mommy, no, I don't like it. I don't want it." And it was funny, and it went viral because she put the sad face on the little girl. And I thought, we have so much dysphoria right now where women are getting their faces done and redone and eyebrows put on, eyebrows taken off, bodies changed. And now the gender dysphoria is all-time crazyville.
Yeah.
Don't put a filter on your child. And if your kid, your daughter, I'm going to say this.
Say it.
Because right now, this is important, is 12 and younger, don't let her wear makeup. Don't.
I agree with that.
I do not let her wear makeup. Don't let her put those filters on her face because it sends a message to her brain that she is not emotionally capable to handle. We wore thick glasses, most of us did, and braces. And we're letting little girls put these 4 years old.
I know.
Don't let them see themselves in a full face of makeup.
Or even back a few years ago, one of the filters that came out on, it was before TikTok. One of the filters that came out, I want to say on Instagram, was changing your gender. What would I look like as a man? And I remember Nicole, one day we were sitting around the couch, and it was like 4 or 5 years ago, and she changed the filter to make herself a man. And everybody in the room was like, delete that right now.
Yeah.
There was something about it that was like, that's
dangerous.
Sinister.
It is
sinister.
Yes.
She's like, what are you talking about? It's cute. I said, it is not cute. Delete it.
That's right.
And then to think 4 or 5 years later where we are right now, we've been set up.
We have.
We've been set up.
And I would say to moms and dads that when you feel that feeling, don't start questioning, but I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be judgmental. I don't want people to think I'm.
Yeah.
Who cares what people think you are?
Who cares?
What people?
I know.
I want to list the people you're thinking about in your mind right now.
Right.
Who? People you don't know?
Right.
People at work?
I know.
Who cares?
Who cares?
You got to raise your kids. So don't stop in your tracks from doing something that is protecting your children, and you feel that in your gut feeling because of what people will think about you.
Because there's somebody going, I wish somebody would stand up.
I know.
And if they did, I would.
I know.
And then when you do, they do.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And that's where we're at right now. The more voices that are speaking truth, then that whatever that sinister plot is can't infiltrate. It will, because it's just the way the world is, but we can't use it as, that's how the world is.
Well, the thing is,
that's how culture goes. Okay, but this is how we go.
But when you give it over under those pretenses, I don't want to because I don't want people to think. We will eventually, and I don't want to get into politics, but we just watched the documentary on Norway.
Yeah.
Okay? And what is happening in that country. And if you haven't, go look at it. They are separating families.
Yes.
Spanking is illegal.
Yeah.
And if anybody went and said, I saw you in a restaurant and you took your child who was biting your other child and moved them away, the government can come in and take your child. And not only can, they do. And they will remove your child. How did they get there? How did they get there? They changed the minds slowly but surely of parents to where the government knows better than you.
Right.
And if we don't stop that in its tracks, it might not be the government in America, but it's the media, or it's social media, or it's people around me, or it's people at school. And don't give up your authority.
Right.
The Bible says it.
Yeah.
Don't cast away your confidence.
Right.
Stand in the confidence and the authority that you have over your children and know what's good for them and what's not good for
That's
them.
right.
And be okay to be the mom that makes your kids mad because you make them turn things off or
That's
you
right.
don't let them watch the things. The principles don't change. That's the point.
Yeah.
From our generation to Gianna, my
That's right.
1-year-old.
And I am at the stage where, and I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. We're in a place now that we have to stand up against and believe what we believe.
Right.
No matter who in the White House is saying whatever they're saying.
Right.
I mean, our president said right before he was elected, he stood on a town hall and said, as a woman, raised her hand and said, "What do I do about my 9-year-old who wants to transgender, who wants to transition?" And he said, "I would remove every limitation, any restriction. Any child should be able to get whatever they feel like they need." And so that same thought process, that same language of abortion, people should be able to do what is right for them.
Yes.
And that the doctor and that person knows. Now we've moved it into this it's so slick.
Yeah.
And now it's like this person with this child, they should be able to do what their parent, what they feel, their doctor thinks is right for them. So it's removing all of these absolutes. It's removing all of these, but we know statistically that's not going to work. Doesn't matter. Whatever you feel, whatever you want.
Well, we have voices screaming, "Don't let them do this. I did it. I transitioned, and I hate my life, and it's hell. And the people around me should have stopped me.
Yes.
That my doctor should have stopped me, and I can't transition back. And life is so hell." Well, we can't listen to them.
Right.
Whatever my 9-year-old, if he wants to be a cat, he can be a cat.
Yeah.
And that's where parents have to be strong enough to say, okay, the world can get as crazy as it wants,
right.
but in our house, we're not going to get crazy. I want to say this too, because I think it's important for listeners, it's important for moms and dads to understand this. But the drag shows that are being propagated, and we see all these Hollywood celebrities, all you have to know is this: what's being fought for. Drag shows have been around for decades.
Yeah.
Decades.
Yeah.
Back in our dad's day, they would have comedic shows that were funny and that were men would dress as women. It was funny.
They weren't
hilarious.
women. They were dressed up right.
They were dressed up as women. They were men dressed up, and it was a comedy.
Right.
Okay. How many black actors to be famous had to be a woman in a movie to be funny? Okay. Well, that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
And they hated it.
Right.
But we're not talking about accepting drag queens. We've accepted drag queens.
Right.
We've got drag queens doing drag shows here in Miami for years and years and years. It's been a thing. Stop a second.
Right.
And think. Drag shows for kids.
Right.
I took Gabby at 4 on a Disney cruise. Captain Hook came around. The Little Mermaid came around.
Yeah.
She screamed bloody murder.
Right.
What makes parents think that kids will not be terrified and traumatized to see a 6'4" man in drag? He looks scary.
Yeah.
Terrifyingly scary. How in the world are we staying quiet on that?
I know.
If kids are in the mix at all, there's an issue. So let's just look at the argument. Drag shows for kids.
Babies, children, toddlers.
What in the world?
And not even just drag shows.
But why?
Not just overly sexualized for no reason.
So can we have, and we've said this, why aren't we taking our kids to strip clubs?
Yeah.
Can we have strip tease for kids?
Right.
Why aren't we accepting women who are being, sexualized?
Yeah.
Why isn't that okay?
And this is why, Mary, the swirl.
Somebody answer that question.
You can't, because it's called confusion and chaos.
Yeah. Totally.
And it's all, we just want it all. We want to be able to do whatever we want to do without you saying anything. This is why what you said and what we started at the top of this podcast with, don't throw away your confidence.
Yes.
Because the world's going to get worse.
Yeah.
When we have leaders of the free world that are not even taking into consideration what they're saying.
No.
And they're just, whoever you vote for, whatever, they all do it to some extent.
Yeah.
Now at this stage of our life, okay, whatever, it's not a political issue. This is about what's being propagated onto our children, what's being said at the highest level.
Yes. And laws and legislation is being passed.
And laws, laws don't even have to pass. It's in the language of the culture.
That's right.
It can be, it's not against the law, but it's in, now I feel pressed to go that way because I went to my doctor and I filled out the form and there's all these different now genders I've got. So it's in the language. You're not going to get
everywhere.
it out.
No.
You're not going to get it out. So you have to know that where you're going, what you believe, you better stand steadfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, you're doing right. This is what I told our mothers on Mother's Day. I said, if you are working and loving your kids and raising your kids and feeding your kids and teaching and bringing them to church, you are a hero. You're doing it right.
Yeah, you're better than the majority of people out there.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. They just cried. No, you're doing a great job.
Yes,
your kids love you. And just stay confident. Stay confident.
Stay true to what you know. And that's a great place to end this podcast because we went over again.
Oh,
but
Lord.
Who thought we wouldn't?
I don't know. Whoever.
What person behind the booth thought we would stick to 30 minutes? I mean, Ashley's like, I didn't.
That's their bad.
Danielle's in there. She clapped. She didn't hear what you said about her.
Uh-oh.
No, she did. She said she heard it. It was all good. And thank you, Martha, for coming in here. This was fun. We should do this on the regular.
What we should just do is just put, we don't even need cameras. We just put microphones on.
Oh, that would be so
wherever we are, we're just hit
dangerous.
record. Oh, that would be bad. We would be canceled.
We would be canceled. So thank you for listening, watching, wherever you are today to another episode of The Family Business with the Alessis. Thanks so much. Thanks to Martha for being here in the studio with me. So much more to come. Make sure you share this podcast with everybody. Have a great day.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and click on the notifications bell so you can be notified for all of our future videos. And if you loved today's topic, we have plenty more. And you can click on this link right here to watch all of our videos so you can learn why family is everybody's business.